When AI shows up at your job, what happens next? I mean, it's the question on everyone's mind, isn't it? But here's the thing, the answer isn't really about robots or algorithms. It's about a choice. A fundamental choice your company makes that creates two completely different futures for your career. And the data we're about to look at shows exactly what those futures look like.
Now, just for a little context, this is part 6 of our 10-part series where we're breaking down a major research report from Virtualization Options LLC on AI transformation. And today, we are zeroing in on probably the most personal part of their research, how your company's big-picture strategy directly shapes your job security and what your future career path could even look like.
So let's put that question right back on the table, because it's at the absolute heart of what we're talking about today. What really happens when AI becomes a part of your daily work? Well, the data shows it's not one single story. It's two very, very different ones.
And that story really starts with this huge split, a great divide. It's a divide in job security that's not really driven by the tech itself, but by a company's core mission. Are they all about maximizing shareholder value, or are they focused on creating real value for their customers?
The research on this couldn't be any clearer. Depending on which one of those paths your company decides to take, the outcome for you and your coworkers can be worlds apart. So let's get into the hard numbers.
All right, so in organizations that are laser-focused on shareholder value, AI is often just seen as a tool for one thing: cutting costs. The result? An average involuntary workforce reduction of 18% over 3 years. Think about that. That's nearly 1 in 5 jobs just gone. Okay, now let's look at the other side of the coin. Companies that are focused on customer value. Here, AI is used to make things better for the customer, not just cheaper for the company. The average headcount reduction, it's a tiny 3%. The difference here is just staggering.
But the story doesn't end with who gets laid off. Oh no, there's a massive ripple effect. In those shareholder-focused firms, the people who are left, they're dealing with so much anxiety and sinking morale that voluntary turnover, we're talking people who choose to leave, hits a whopping 22% every year. Compare that to just 9% in the customer-focused companies.
The report actually has a name for this. It calls it survivor syndrome. What happens is your best people, the ones with the most options, they see the writing on the wall and they head for the exits. This kicks off this vicious cycle where cutting costs leads to quality issues, which then hurts revenue, which leads to, you guessed it, even more pressure to cut costs. It's a downward spiral.
So you see, this is way bigger than just keeping your job today. This is about whether you're going to have a viable career path tomorrow. Let's look at how this one choice either builds up your future or, well, hollows it out.
You know the traditional career ladder, right? Well, in a shareholder-focused company, AI comes in and starts automating those entry-level jobs, and it completely hollows out those critical mid-level roles that used to be the way you'd move up. The ladder is basically broken. But in a customer-focused company, it's a different story. Entry-level jobs are redesigned to work with AI, and those middle roles, they evolve into new, specialized positions, creating brand new ways to advance.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. The research actually identifies these brand new, human-centric roles that are popping up in these more forward-thinking companies. We're talking about jobs that are all about combining human empathy and critical judgment with the power of AI tools. This is where the real growth is happening.
Which brings us to a really important point: your skills. What are you actually learning day to day? In the shareholder model, you're pretty much being trained to operate a system, follow a script, handle exceptions. They're very narrow skills, and honestly, not that transferable. But in the customer model, you're building skills like emotional intelligence, complex problem-solving, human-AI collaboration. These are the deeply human skills that are actually future-proof.
At the end of the day, what these two paths really do is rewrite the fundamental relationship between you and your employer. They create two totally different versions of what the employment contract looks like in the 21st century. The shareholder-focused path? That leads to what's called a transactional relationship. It's simple. Your employment is completely conditional. It's based on how cost-effective you are. You're basically a line item on a spreadsheet, a variable cost that can be optimized or just eliminated. The customer-focused path, on the other hand, builds an investment relationship. Now, this is a whole different ballgame. Here, your job is a partnership based on creating value together. The company sees you as a strategic asset, someone to develop, knowing that as you grow, the company grows too.
You know, you can really see the truth of these two relationships in how a company treats people when they're on their way out. The difference is just black and white. One offers the bare minimum, the other invests in people even as they're leaving, offering better severance, real support, and even helping them find new jobs inside the company. And believe me, that sends a powerful message to everyone who's still there.
So as AI keeps changing everything, the most important question you can ask isn't about what the technology is going to do, it's about what your organization is going to choose to do with it. Which of these two paths are they walking down? And maybe more importantly, which of these two relationships are they trying to build with you?